Hello, welcome back to the tutorial series for Omega Game Framework, the best gameplay framework for Unreal Engine. Today we're going over the new input system added to OGF, and kind of the purpose of this is to provide sort of the I'm trying to bring it back to some of the simplicity of the previous input system, where you can just add an input globally and it works anywhere, rather than necessarily some of the extra functionality and complexity that comes with the enhanced input system. Now, you can still use that system, of course, but this sort of provides a simpler base layer, especially if you're someone wanting to make just a really simple game. The way this input system works is via tags which will be activated with an access value, so somewhat similar to the original input system. Now, for example, I opened up my exploration system here, which, if you didn't understand gameplay systems, previous tutorial on that you can check out. But this is our main exploration system. And in here, in order to use inputs on an object, you'll want to add, you'll want to look up, actually I think I already added it here, but it's this one here. It's input action. Let me actually pull up the actor to show you better. You'll want to do input. You'll do data interface input action, not standard input, not widget input, input action. That's what you want. That's already added to gameplay systems by default. And that'll give you 3 functions. Four because you can disable input, but 3 main functions. Action begin, action end, and action tick. You get the action, which is a gameplay tag, and then you get the player controller triggering that action, as well as its access value. You'll set these up, your inputs up, from Omega settings. So you'll go into here, and you'll under here have a couple things: input action configs and persistent access keys. Input action configs is the main thing. This is where you configure what the actual input is. So you'll add it in here, and then you'll do input. And this is actually a bug right now. It's only supposed to be showing input, but there, if I just do input, there you can add in whatever your input is. And I have some built-in ones for you to use as sort of like your default labels. Common things like attack, crouching, dodging, jumping, whatever. But you can, and then some stuff for widget as well. But you can add your own in, like input do thing, and then we'll add that in. Input do thing, and then we will say give it a value of t. T will do the thing, and we'll even get an access value. Actually, let's do it on our character because that'll demonstrate it better. So let's go ahead and add that input interface in. And on begin, let's switch. Nice using it this way, at least nice for people like me who like it like this. It keeps all your inputs kind of bunched in one spot rather than scattered all over the place. So you can kind of quickly find what does what. Now we'll do input dot do thing, and we'll do a print string. We'll say purple, and plug in our access value. Now, if I do this and I hit T, it's printing out. There you go. But I actually want to show you something else. I believe it's printing out because if I go into input, if I go into player, yes. So I go in here in settings under player. You have input replicate to player pawn, which I have active, so the player pawn is automatically receiving input. But let's turn it off just to show you like how to set up input on any actor. So for a normal actor under normal circumstances, in fact, better idea actually. Why don't I just make a new actor and show you? A test input. So we'll open up that new actor. We'll give it the input. And we'll copy this over in input begin. All right, so it's same thing, and let's drop that into the world. So now if I hit T, nothing happens. Well, we haven't told it that we want to allow input on this because it's a bit dangerous to just allow input on any object or any actor. So what you can do, let's go on begin play, and let's grab a player because we need to know which player can give it input. So we'll say player controller, our default one. Input action. Okay, set input action target active. Might clean up this name later, but that's right now how it works. There, you give a player, you give what object you want to allow input on, and set it to active. And so now, we should be, whenever a player controller receives that input action, we should be able to get it. So now, there you go. Whenever I hit T, it prints that value out. A couple things I want to cover first is I want to show you this in imported gameplay settings. I showed you this in the first tutorial. But this is sort of a default configuration that comes with Omega. It's optional. You can add as many of these as you want. But in here, I actually have a bunch of inputs already set up. So for things like jump, pause, move, control, sprint, UI, confirm, cancel. Now, all these default inputs are set up with proper inputs, and that's up to them. So this is an easy way you can actually just add this on and already have access to tons of different inputs. So that's just to make your life easier whenever starting a new project. You don't have to re-add those every time. Now this works for normal analog inputs, but it doesn't automatically work for axis inputs because axis inputs require a constant checking of what their value is, and that can stack up on performance if you're using it for every key. So things like getting the mouse 2D axis or the gamepad thumbstick axis, in order for that to work, you'll actually need to go into here, input axis keys, and register it here. So to use an example, let's actually remove this for the moment and change this to be mouse 2D axis. Then I believe if we go in to input action tick and attach it here, this should tick along with our mouse movement now, because whenever the XY value of our mouse changes. But it's not. It's not doing anything. It's not doing anything because this is an axis-based one and it checks every frame. For performance reasons, we want to make sure we actually tell it, hey, we want to use this to check every frame, instead of just letting any input use the tick. So we'll do that. We'll do mouse axis 2D. If I hit play now, there you go. And now you have access to the mouse axis. And that same thing, if I go back and add the default settings, config settings, you'll see is actually already set up. We have it for mouse 2D as well as for both the thumbsticks. And that is the basics of the input system in OGF.